सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि। धर्म्याधियुद्धात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते। यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्। अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि। अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम्। सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते। भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतः भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्। अवाच्यवादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरन्नु किम्। हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम्। तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः।
Wonderful. Thank you. Is my video not on?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So, continuing now from where we have been seeing a very important topic, which is Swadharma. Bhagavan is urging Arjuna that now, keeping in mind his own Swadharma also, he should, being a Kshatriya, he should now fight this war, suggesting him to actually just follow his Swadharma. He's not saying fight the war. He's suggesting him to follow his Swadharma. What really is Swadharma? If we were to just pay a little more attention on it, because this is very unique to Bhagavad Gita. It is kind of accepted when you study in the tradition from the methodology that is available. It doesn't need much explanation, but in our current situation of our education system, Swadharam is not clearly understood. for a simple reason that it is a label given to a human being based on starting point of the birth of a child. What is determining the birth in a particular situation? Birth of a child in a particular situation, in a particular environment, to a particular set of to a particular set of parents, and along with siblings in a particular environment. The thinkers of the contemplators of truth, thinkers on wanting to discover truth, by means of reasoning, logical, and observation of things, qualities that some children just show when they are born, etc., layers of deep reasoning process. The understanding is that you are born in a particular environment, situation that is determined by your past threefold factors. One we all understand very well, which is your karma, your past karma. But your past karma is a choice that one has made because of one's innate nature. हमारा स्वभाव अलग अलग है. Based on our स्वभाव, we tend to gravitate towards choosing things, and those choices further help us to bring actions out in the world. The third factor that plays a role in one's choices is how much knowledge we have in execution of the choices. So at any point of time, say now, we are a product of all these three, this moment backwards, which means how much knowledge I have, how much wisdom I have, how much of the capacity to choose rightly, correctly, in my interest, in my benefit, in my, whatever be my thinking. Based on my thinking, I will make a choice. That choice will come from, my thinking will come from my nature. What is my existing nature? And then I execute actions based on my choices that I make or I don't make, both ways. That determines where I am today, which environment we are in, where exactly is physically. This physical body is a upadhi. Upadhi means something that you are you're in close contact with. It serves as a medium. It serves as an instrument. So your physical body serves as an instrument, serves as a medium, which is contacting you, the indweller, who is not a physical entity, is allowing you to contact the external world. This is your upadhi. Your current upadhi, present now, here, is based entirely on these three factors past, which we can see even in a lifetime. If you start seeing the set of choices you have made was dependent upon your thinking, and that thinking was influenced by your own nature. So all of us have different choices. We all have different action plans. We all have different natures coming from that. The same thing is also extended backward. What is it? That the minute a child is born, the thinkers in our community said, what has determined the birth here of this child? It's not random. It cannot be random, because if it was random, then I should be exhibiting random behavior even now. Now also I should have a randomness about my nature. I should have a randomness in my appearance. I should have randomness in my outlook. Everything should be random. If random is the reason that randomly people are born in a particular, people are born wherever they are born. Wherever anyone's born, it's random. If randomness is the reason, then even now there should be randomness. But now we don't find randomness. We find, in fact, ourselves fairly a victim of our own nature. We are not able to change our nature quickly. Even when we know what is right, our own nature will impel us to act in a particular way. Arjuna is going to ask this question also later on. That we seem to be most often helpless and structured, conditioned by our own nature. And that is what is determining the course of my life. And that nature is helping me to think in a particular way. And that is what they extrapolated backwards. And by going at the point of a birth of a child, they said this is the same thing. If a child is born in an environment, it is their own past nature, their own past karma that has brought about a fructification of this upadhi, this sharira, which is going to now enable you to further yourself executing your nature, swabhav apna, and contacting whatever you wish, the life you can create for yourself. So this child who is now subject to past behavior, past nature, past choices because of which you are in a present set, which means it is very, very, very rare that in a Hiranyakashipu's family, Prahlad is born. It is fairly rare. But that rareness is also accounted for by giving freedom to a birth of a child, not restricting the child to whatever family they are born into. A society was open enough to allow you to express your nature even if it went against the family grain. But 99.9%, you are born, which is most conducive for your expression of your nature and your temperament, your qualities. And that is why you don't find random birth. So what happens is that Shastra gives a label from the very birth. Birth itself gets a label. You get a label from birth. The purpose of the label was that this is going to now help you determine. Be very watchful of the words. It is going to help you to determine what your natural tendency will gravitate you towards in your life and what likely are your choices to be and what Shastra says from the very beginning should be your ordained karma. What are those labels from Shastra Drishti? I'll talk about it later to prevent bias in our mind. What are the labels in our modern society? If you need a driver, who are you calling? If I say a driver, what is it implying? What does it imply?
Somebody who's capable of driving a car and who has that capability.
And not just that, I want to employ him or I need his help. Driver is a label. Who is a guard?
Again, a label of a security guard.
of a person who is going to hopefully give security. Who is a doctor? Doctor is a label. If I say ADV, so and so, so, what does that ADV stand for? Sorry?
Advocate.
Advocate.
Yeah.
It stands for an advocate. No. Is it not a label? What is that label signifying? It is signifying that if I need help of such and such a neighbor work, you can go approach wherever you see a board, you see a visiting card, you see an, if you know it's an ADV written, that's the nature of work they'll do. If you know there's a DR written, that's the nature of the work they will do, etc., etc. Labels, labeling is not a very new or an ancient process. Labeling is only a helpful process to streamline a community living with reference to actions, which we today call professions, which we call work-related. But why will a person become a doctor? Why will a person become an advocate? Why does a person become when somebody writes CA in front of their name, CA so-and-so, what does it automatically come to your mind? Oh, this person is a chartered accountant. Now, that labeling, does everybody have the capacity to write CA before their name? It's a fairly tough exam to clear. Not all of us can easily gravitate towards it. Now, what does that CA really mean? DR really mean? What does it all mean? Is it bringing the person down, or is it affecting the person in any way? Does it reduce the person or increase the person in stature? Does it do anything to the person except give clarity of what is the nature of action that is to be expected from such a person? The world should expect it. If you write ADV before your name, the world will expect you to have some sort of a nature of an advocate. It's not going to be easy for a person who writes a doctor behind her name and to say that I am into maybe I don't know, do undoctorly things, whatever that means. This labeling is Shastra Drishti labels are Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Which means what? From the very birth, wherever you're born, it is presumed that you have a similar inclination as the parents you have chosen to be born to. It's not random. There is a siddhant behind. We are not able to see it to that level of causation, but likely, because we can't see it, it's 100 out of 100, we do not know. But likely, averagely, on a very big canvas of observation, if you take a huge sample of data, like when you are bringing out a vaccine in the world, only after a certain sampling is done can you say this is going to be benefit. This will be benefiting against this virus or whatever. In the similar way, if you take a huge sampling of human temperament, and where is your birth truly there? Shastra allows us to initially set a path of it's expected out of you. I am taking a step forward. 99.9% of the people really don't think in life. Particularly, you don't think what is adhyatmically beneficial for you. आपके लिए अच्छा क्या है? क्या सुख शांति देगा आपको in the real sense? 99% of the people are herd instinct followers. They just follow herd instinct. Anybody saying anything, leading anywhere, and there is a natural movement towards it because it occupies time, it occupies life, it occupies some gati. When Shastra gives us the swadharmic karam, means if you are born in a Brahmin family, there are some Shastriya karma that Shastra tells a Brahmin to do. ये उसका unique karam hai, which will go along with his temperament. It's not thrust upon him, but it will be helpful to him. The person is not doing a favor to the Shastra. Shastra says if you keep your life aligned in these karmas, it will help you in your life gati. भटकने की जरूरत नहीं है. If your temperament is like this, these are the karmas that, you know how a counselor tells when you're in the school nowadays, I think there are counseling sessions. 11th standard or 8th, 9th, I don't know which class, but they have counseling sessions. A teacher is supposed to help you figure out what is the right profession for you. What a tough job. But they are fairly helpful. They are able to determine. There are tests like that, which will tell you what is your aptitude for, and you should stick to that aptitude. The Shastra is saying absolutely the same thing. What is it saying? Whatever is your aptitude for, do not deviate from it. The difference is that in the world, when they talk of the counseling session, it is more keeping in mind what you get in the world in the sense of Vyavharik Drishti. You get material benefit, you get status, plus you will enjoy your work. If you have an aptitude for something and you can discover your aptitude and you do along with it, you will feel more relaxed from within. There's a greater joy to do that. There's less resistance from within. So it's helpful. But Shastra Drishti is sticking to Swadharma is very essential. I am saying very essential because I understand it like that. Shastra is only saying follow your Swadharma. But following the Swadharma means the idea is that this life, of course, it will help you with, but that you have come with a particular nature. It is easier to be told that by the time I grow up and I figure out, half my life is gone. Most of the people are still struggling in the world. What is my real aptitude? And the stage to chooses are already gone, and then you settle down with whatever is available. Many people stick to that. But if I already have this to start off, if I'm born in a Kshatriya family, a child in a Kshatriya, Arjuna, I believe I hear it, that Arjuna, even as a child, his hands would go to toys that were more like weapons. In fact, your childhood traits, if your parents are very observant or your grandparents are wise, if adults around you can be observant, the child's traits already reveal a lot about what is the temperament going to be, fairly much. Afterwards, the child's will play a lot of important role. They can change it also, but initially you get an idea. So these four varnas means जो वर्णन कर रहा है आपका, वो आपको fairly describe कर सकता है. If you are born in a particular set of an environmental quality, it doesn't mean everybody will follow the same nature, but your karma will be conducive to you. There will be exceptions, and The 4 is just a broad outline. There will be many in between shades, which will overlap each other also. But primarily these 4 are 4 building structures of a society. Exactly how much help you need, how many helpers do you need around you for a physical existence, how many earning members you need in the world, how many protectors, security-wise, you need in the world, and how many advisors do you need in the world. It has to be in the form of a pyramid. You don't need many advisors. In fact, for it's exactly like saying, if there is a doctor can handle in a lifetime, how many, especially in a populated country like ours, one doctor would handle. When we were doing, I was internship, there were about 50, 60 in 3 hours that you would manage to see, say in an orthopedic section. 50, 60, it churns. Which means what? That label is helpful to give you a direction. At the same time, it is helpful to unfold your nature. Important point here is swadharma, to follow. Why? Why is it important? Why is it important to figure out what is my nature as closely as possible? What am I inclined towards? What is my action supposed to be centered in towards? What should I direct it towards? Why is it important? Later in the Gita, he's going to also say, following your own nature is giving an expression to yourself. And when you give an expression to yourself, it's giving you a chance to work out your entire collection of your sanchita karma, your impressions, your swabhav. It is a means, it's an upadhi given to you. So the minute your natural nature is flowing towards a particular direction, it is advised to not change that direction to a completely another method. There are shades, there are grades, you can move a little here and there, but if you were to do absolutely paradharma, swadharma is your own dharma, paradharma is someone else's dharma. If you were to completely do someone else's paradharma, this will be detrimental for you. How? Can anybody say that? How will it affect your nature?
You will not do justice to it. You will keep having that guilt of not being able to be successful at what you're doing.
Correct. Correct. So what will happen to your nature? Your inner nature? Will it get
It will get suppressed, maybe.
Excellent. It will just remain दबा हुआ. उसको भाव नहीं मिलेगा. और जब उसको भाव ही नहीं मिल रहा, तो उसकी ग्रोथ एंड गति कैसे हो सकती है उस जीव की? उसको खुशी तो बहुत दूर की बात है. How will that person grow? How will that person tread forward? How will that person work? Because nature ही दबा है. Your natural nature is not getting an expression. Why? Because you are overwriting it by following someone else's nature. And that, Shastra says, is extremely detrimental to your subtle body because you are confusing yourself. This point is very subtle. Absolutely stunting your growth. If you will, supposing your natural inclination, taking Arjuna's example, is of a Kshatriya स्वभाव, और वो करना क्या चाह रहा है? ब्राह्मण स्वभाव को अडॉप्ट करना चाह रहा है. So what will happen? Initially, he may manage by willpower. After some time, what will happen? His mind will start getting, there are two different roads completely. A Kshatriya will be an active person, go-getter, will go out and face a difficulty, go out and look eye to adversity. A Brahmin won't do that. A temperament which will just be comfortable, which will have a high tolerance and therefore will put up with any difficulty, but will not fight it, will not resist it. Now your natural tendency was something. But if you are following something else which is not in the grain of your natural tendency, you are not allowing your life to unfold the potential of your growth. Ultimately, what are these karmas that Shastra gave? It was a guideline. Which even now is. It doesn't change. But they put it in a way in which, because it was a Vaidika system, it should still be a Vaidika system. If you follow that, you are bringing an element of that adrishta phalam. You are not an exclusive member in the world. You are an interconnected member, not just to species, to elements, to the Mahat. Supposing there are there are floods now, there are unoccasioned rains. Does your life not affect? There is an earthquake. Does your life not get affected? A war man has brought in. But an earthquake man doesn't bring, a tornado man doesn't bring, a cyclone man doesn't bring, a flood man is not bringing, a cloudburst man is not bringing directly. That you are interdependent to the larger force. You are interdependent to that. So, Swadharma meant I am aligning my choice, my capacity, my nature to act in a direction which connects me to the totality. What is a God? If I am supposing if I am if I am a cook, I go to someone's house as a cook. I cook in 3-4 homes. When I cook in 3-4 homes, what am I doing?
Your dharma, it's a job, occupation.
It's a job, it's an occupation. My attitude will determine how good or bad or what I do. 90% of the times I'll just go quickly finish because my interest is on my work. Does it connect me to totality? But supposing a cook, how will a cook connect cooking to totality?
By giving it their best.
By giving my best, okay? Yes.
The attitude you cook with,
Absolutely.
like your own children.
Correct. And
what he is supposed to do.
Sorry?
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
He's doing what he's supposed to do, which is natural to him. That connection, if you do to your job, to your work, to the totality, if you are able to bring that in your perspective, in your outlook, in your mind, that is now making your job, in a common man's term, a job as worship. You are looking at your work as worship. You are doing it as a prayer. You are doing your best because you know that whatever I'm cooking is helping whoever's eating. And if in my mind I can adjust my thinking to saying this is the best I can do, I'm doing it to earn my living, sure enough. But this is my temperament. And if I'm cooking with an idea that the ones who eat should be satisfied, that is one level. And the second level is, correct, that if I am able to see that the indweller in the one who's going to consume this, that indweller and this indweller are the same. वो हो गई ना बात वो, hand extended. That attitude of hand extended, I can only do this much, so my hand doesn't bend back to my mouth, but I can feed your mouth. If that attitude comes in your action, Swadharam se, there will be yours, as he's saying here, there is your adhyatmik gati. Adhyatmik means something that is bringing you closer to your superior nature, your essential nature. This nature, acquired nature of yours with which you have come to this birth, which has given you this conditioned body and this conditioned set of relatives and parents and siblings and etc. This conditioned nature of yours, you will employ to bring you closer to your essential nature. And that essential nature is that you are Brahman. That is one. That is everyone's essential nature. That is not different for you and me. But my Varna and your Varna is different. My qualities and your qualities are different. My conditioned nature and your conditioning of the nature is different. But both of us, however different our conditioned natures are, for both of us, our set of actions that can spring from that nature can help us grow. So whether you are belonging to, if I'm a god, I know how to grow myself. If I'm a priest, I know how to grow myself. If I'm a warrior, or if I'm a trader, if I'm a businessman, I know how to grow myself. How do I grow myself? When I contribute, when I become a member of the totality with that vision, that will give me a chance to work in the law of Ishvara. We are calling it Ishvara. In the law of Ishvara, that you are born in a particular environment which is best suited for your growth. No, you have, it's my favorite word is designer. Ever since I've heard the designer word, I'm stuck to the designer word. Because people use it for clothes and jewelry, I use it for all these things. It is a designer environment for you. Because there are very few pieces like that. In fact, this is such a unique thing. It is designed exclusively for you. But when you do not follow Swadharma, what all are you losing out on? You will lose out on the expression of this whole chance of your growth. You are losing out on. B, very soon your mind will be riddled with confusing thoughts. Should I do this? Should I do this? हम ऐसा करते हैं, वो तो वैसा करते हैं. The world is doing this, should I do this? My neighbor does this, should I do this? My friend does this, should I do this? My partner does this, should I do this? Shastra says, why in our society that intercasteism was, marriage itself meant try and prevented intercaste marriage was up to a point, was because the karmas get confusing. Because your natures are different. And different natures will find it attractive maybe up to a point, but when it comes to practical living, automatically there'll be confusion. Should I do this or should I do that? What should I follow? My nature will tell me to follow one thing, but the environment outside will tell me to follow something else. So what should I follow? But natural. It is a societal organization. People don't understand the importance of a Vedic lifestyle. by making it a Hindu orientation or making it a religious connotation. Yes, there are gods in this system. Yes, your mind must be kept afloat from what your environment is. You cannot keep it afloat until you have some intangible, higher associated idea. What is a higher associated, intangible idea? That is Bhagavan. That is Ishvara. And it is not a imagination. When your mind can latch up to it, that helps determine how you will transact in the life now. So, Swadharma Palan is tricky in present times for sure. So, Vaidika Swadharma Palan is tricky. But its secondary application, at least at the realm of karma, one can abide in doing what is one's Swadharma, and following that Swadharma has to be the primary factor in one's choice of actions. What one does should be fairly aligned to what I am inwardly comfortable doing. I should not be, if I am comfortably doing nothing, many of us are very comfortable doing nothing. If I am comfortable doing nothing, what is Shastra's advice to us? What is there? If you are comfortable doing nothing, you should do what?
God, like do dhyanam, do mananam.
जो कुछ नहीं कर सकता वो तो बहुत ही कम करेगा. Who is that person who will do nothing? Who's inclined to doing nothing? From what we have studied so far.
Tamasic person.
Tamasic person. So exactly. So what should they do? Simply pick up the Shastra says, serve. If you're inclined to do nothing, your method of growth will be go do service. Go play football was Vivekananda. What does Shastra say? It says, at the level of karmas, supposing your natural tendency is never to sit quiet, बैठ ही नहीं सकते. You're all the time running. Finding work, intensely occupied, passionately occupied. Some people are very, you can see that drive in them. And you also get carried away in that drive for some time because it looks like, so nice to be in that drive. To some of us, when we look down also, every day morning cars going out, evening they come, again morning they go, again evening, then you wonder, yeah, ye roz karte kya hai? They go for a job, they come back. They go for a job, they come back. They go for a job, they come back. Every day of their life they will go. They have beautiful homes, but they come home only to sleep. They have helpers to come. The food is ready. Tired. Again in the morning. There is a drive. They're passionate. They have energy for it. Such people, how will they grow? Expand their interest. Work for something higher. Service will remain the same, but serve the higher. For the one who is tamasic also, serve. For the one who is rajasic also, serve. For the one who is sattvic also, serve. The higher. That is common. It has nothing to do with who is higher as a person or lower as a varna. No. The formula remains the same for everyone. It is according to your set of temperament that particular set of action is best suited for you. So Krishna here is reminding Arjuna, because since childhood, he has the orientation of a Kshatriya. And a Kshatriya is his ahankar, his identity, self-identity, that conditioned me, is centered around the qualities that work to protect and have honor and have pride and have lavishness. These are all their natural tendencies. So the minute all along Arjuna has been extremely depressed, Dila Dala, darked, slumped completely, Bhagavan realized so far Atma Vidya hasn't worked on his subtle body. It's not brought that fighting spirit back in him. He gave him other reasons, the previous ones that he just said. Even if you look at from Dharma standpoint, it has still not invoked his fighting spirit. So Bhagavan being Bhagavan, he knows the last point that will strike him, where his ego is most attached, his identity is most formed, his conditioning is maximally there. And that is, he uses the Vaidika label that Arjuna had identified with. In those days, those were the labels that you identified with. And he says, you are a Kshatriya. And the minute Kshatriya word is put across to him, that label invokes in him those emotions. The label invokes, to some degree, it invokes that it reminds him of his temperament. To some degree, it reminds him of the temperament. And therefore, he says, you are a Kshatriya. And what does a Kshatriya's outlook, his karma would tell him? That he will fight for righteousness. वो नहीं कर सकता गलत काम आसानी से. Who are the people today who are, you find sometimes in a police force, in army, in the defense services, don't you find a different aura about, I would call it aura. There's a different feeling about them. And those who are very, very passionate about it, about serving the nation, serving the righteousness. Their personality is around that. They can't think of doing something wrong easily. But if someone's doing something wrong, they can fight them. So the minute the Kshatriya word has come across, and as Arjuna knows, fighting for a Kshatriya, the Dharma Shastra I quoted last time, Dharma Shastra says, unasked for means you did not instigate, you did not will a war, but a war was facing you. The circumstances brought around by your prarabdha. A circumstance came across where you were to be participating in a war, and you are on the side of a Kshatriya dharam can express itself. Your Kshatriya nature can express itself. You can fight for a right cause. You get a chance to work for it. You will get a chance to express your nature. So when you get such a chance, he says, yadrichaya cha upapannam. Unasked for. Sure enough, this is a Vedic way of saying you are going to be so, your karmas would have worked in such a way that it is earning you a place in heaven later on as Adrishtam. What more happiness can a Kshatriya have than asking for a war, than having got, not asking, that having got a war which you didn't ask for? In this manner in which you are standing in front, O Arjuna. And then he says, Atha chet tvam imam dharmyam. Now what will happen if you refuse to fight this? Means now you are taking someone else's nature. अपने स्वभाव के साथ नहीं चल रहे, आप किसी और के स्वभाव के साथ चलने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, अपना फॉलो करोगे, but not your nature, someone else's nature, then you say, Sangramam na karishyasi. Karishyasi is a future tense. I will not fight this war. Sangramam, war. I'm not fighting this war. Then what will happen? He says, Tataha. Then, Swadharmam kirtam cha. Swadharmam hitva. Kirtam hitva. Hitva means literally abandoning it. मार के. छोड़ दिया. आपने अपना स्वधर्म छोड़ दिया. And because of which your natural actions are bound to give you success, comfort, etc. The kirti that you have gained because of following your swadharma. And as I said here, Bhashyakara is helping us. Mahadev Adi, he's fought with some great Tanavs and Daityas, and even Kauravas he single-handedly fought, etc. So he had earned a lot of reputation. He was known in his community. He had earned a lot of respect. So what will happen? Bhagavan is reminding him. What is he attacking? He's attacking his Kshatriya pride. The honor that he has earned. Not everybody had so much honor. Once you have earned an honor, it is now your job to defend your honor, which means you have to be careful in your life with your execution of your actions that you do not do something which will disgrace your own self. Those who have not earned enough honor, do they have anything to lose? Nothing. Nobody knows you. You have nothing to worry. You can live any life. But if you have earned a certain fame, you have earned a certain honor, you've earned a certain reputation in society, now to lose it. So Bhagavan's saying, you are doing two mistakes. What are those mistakes? You are giving up your swadharma. And the second error you will do is, you are overlooking the fact that you will lose all the honor that you have already acquired in life. Now, to someone who has a natural vairagyam, who will have a natural vairagyam? Which of these, or who has vairagyam? Who has viveka shakti? Who has already placed a right value? They are fairly sattvic in temperament. They are fairly in the category of Brahmin. To them, losing honor will mean what? Will it mean much? कुछ फर्क पड़े अगर किसी को वैराग्य है और उसको
It'll be like
बहुत
the
reputation
end.
मिल गया है.
It'll be the end for him. Like he'll feel it's the end for him.
For Arjun, he will feel
Yes.
that. But someone who has vairagyam, genuine vairagyam,
It won't affect him, Deepti ji.
for them it will be, it's okay to lose it. Honor and dishonor for me both have the same value. But if you have placed honor at a higher value in your life, then dishonor will also be a great fall. But if you have the same value for honor and dishonor, if somebody gives you extra honor, if they put you on a pedestal and you're honored, but to you that value is, it's okay. No? It's okay. Honor comes, honor goes. No? They're all agama apainaha. What will happen if there is dishonor when that honor goes? We just finished that in the previous verses. It's okay. But to someone who has valued honor, what has the Kshatriya got value for? Honor. So to him it will be a great affectation. Dishonor will not be an easy capsule to digest.
But would not that be attachment also?
Attachment to?
to honor.
It is going to be, but that he's going to teach him how not to be.
Okay.
At this point, what is he telling? He's reviving Arjuna to come to his nature first, and then tell him how to grow in his Swadharma by changing the attitude. But here he is only telling him that if you abandon, what are your pros and cons? अगर लड़ोगे तो you get स्वर्गम. अगर नहीं लड़े, means you get स्वर्गम, you get कीर्ति, etc. You get your kingdom, you get a chance to live your righteous nature. It will give you happiness from within. नहीं लड़ोगे, if you do not, then you will lose your natural flow of action. You will lose the kirti, and a very important factor, having done what you should not do will become a means for acquiring a papam. You have earned yourself a pap karam. What is that pap? The pap is avoiding doing what you should do, what your natural nature would have told you to do. अपने धर्म को ना करना, skipping it, avoiding it for whatever reason, will bring you papam. And what is the nature of this papam? It expresses itself as something that will confuse you, something that will become it won't be like an obstacle, phalam as an obstacle directly, as materially or physically affecting, but it will come as a it will come as a badha from within. So yes, it can express as fear and disturbance from within. So there is a term called pratyavaya papam. There's a lot of debate in the Shastra on this particular papam. Pratyavaya papam is a nature of a papam, pap, karam, which is actually not doing something wrong that you get it. एक पाप तो होता है ना, जो मैंने गलत किया. I go and murder someone. I go and rob someone. I go and steal someone. This is a direct wrong karma. Everybody can understand this, isn't it? Is it difficult to understand that? No. If I go directly hurt someone else, I incur pap. But there is a pap that we don't register, which means what I should have done and I didn't do. By my nature, it fell in my lap to do something, but I avoided it. I did not do it. That is incurring pratyavaya papam. It's a very subtle nature. So what does it function as? Because you've done paradharma here, it constantly obstructs your natural flow of thought process. It confuses you with another thought process. That papam avapsyasi. You will not only lose your swadharmic nature, you will lose all the kirti that you have got, you will also incur the papam, which will express itself as disturbance, it will express itself as aviveka. It will numb you, it will dumb you, it will I think numb you is the correct, it numbs you inside. At the right time, it numbs you. So that papama avapsyasi, you will incur that kind of a papa. Na kevalam swadharmam kirtim parityagaha. Now he's giving more reason. And that is what is going to, it's like a hitting again, like he said, Klaibyam masmagamaf. Now he's once again hitting Arjuna with the words that not only are you giving up swadharma and kirti, parityagaha, by giving them up, what more will happen? Now that typical, what we talk in the world, log kya kahenge? 90% of the people change their plan of actions based on the fact, log kya kahenge? How many of us are influenced by this factor? Log kya, after all, padosi kya kahenge? After all, bade log kya kahenge? After all. So that log kya kahenge is what Bhagavan is telling Arjuna now. He says, akirtan cha api, along with akirti. And which kind of an akirti? He says, you will lose kirti is one thing. You just lose it. That's okay. But you will get akirti. Do you see the difference? एक है कि चलो मुझे honor था वो चला गया. It's okay. Nobody sees me the same way as before. No, that's okay. If you put me on pedestal, you brought me down on earth. That's no big issue. But you put me on pedestal, you bring me on earth, and then you dig my grave. You put me in the grave. You completely from there to niche. That akirti means you are going to be talked about. Arjuna, you will become a subject of gossip. People are going to not only just talk about you casually, you are so honored that they are going to now say, Bhutani, people are now kathayishyanti, will talk. They will talk. They, kathayishyanti. All the people will talk. Kathayishyanti in the future. In which manner? He says, avyayam. The way they will talk, this akirti will remain avyayam, changeless now. It's like saying Ravan, even if he's a Shiv Bhakta, how is he looked upon? Every year, poor fellow, we make his caricature and we burn him. Every year we do, generation after generation. This is akirti avyayam. ये बदलेगी नहीं अब. Ravan is not going to become worshipful at some point. This is called akirti avyayam. Whatever honor you have earned, Arjuna, you will lose this all. That was okay if you just lose it and become ignominious and nobody knows you now. Arjun, you were forgotten in history, like so many great kings and people have been forgotten in history. But your name will get written in history with disgrace now. How? He says, later on he will say, but at this verse he says, Sambhavitasya, for the ones who have earned great honor, for them, akirti, getting dishonor, is maranat atirichyate. It is worse than atirichyate. It crosses even the pain of death. I'd rather die than having dishonor. Who will feel like this? Only a Kshatriya can feel like that. I'd rather die. He's ready to die for honor. Don't we have so much honor killing? That you'd rather die than have disgrace. This is all Kshatriya blood. Right or wrong is not the point. It's not recommended at all. No. That's why that harnessing of that nature is the chance to live your Swadharma. You have to harness that nature. Your natural nature will also have flaws in it. It's not perfect for everyone. Brahmin is not perfect. Kshatriya is not perfect. Neither are the other two. You will have to harness your nature. But for the one who has earned honor, dishonor is worse than death. Maranat atirichyate. It says, the ones gunaihi sambhavitasya means you have earned so much goodwill, goodness around in the world. That one action, wrong action of yours, this slight mistake on your part. And what is it? He's not really saying I have a mistake. I'm doing it. But उसके अंदर एक इच्छा आ गई है कि मैं इनको कैसे खोऊं, द्रोणा को और भीष्मा को, and these, how can I can not lose them. So उसके अंदर एक इच्छा आ गई कि I can maybe run away from the war. That ichha to abandon the war, his duty. It's just erupted as a thought. To abandon that, he says the consequences of this will be what? Don't think that your action has no consequences. That even your thought can have a consequence. Your thought of running will, if not corrected at the right time, will make you run. If there is no wise counsel around, you will land up running, Arjuna. And if you land up running, the consequences are you will lose all this. And for you who is so honorable, certainly you know that you'd rather die than be disgraced. So then he says, now he's talking about what will people say? People will talk all kinds of things, no? So what do you mean by akirti? So that rubbing the salt in now, he's rubbing it in Arjuna's mind. Bhayat ranat uparatam. Amazing. He says these Maharathas standing across you, and we know who the Maharathas were. We did in the first chapter. Atirathi, Maharathi. These Maharathis are those who can fight 10,000. They are so skilled in warriors. These Maharathas, Mamsyante, plural, this is all in plural. They will all think Twam about you. In which manner? Bhayat. Upparatam. You withdrew from the war out of what? This word I don't need to translate. Out of what? Bhayat. Out of fear. And Shankara, absolutely amazing. He says, Bhayat, fear of people like whom? Karna Adi. That you feared these Maharathas will say, हमसे डर के भाग गए. किससे डर के? Karna Adi. Because he had a special love-hate relation with Karna. Duryodhana, it was all hate, kind of very little love. But with Karna, it is like equally balanced. Respect bhi hai, or, they were always competitors. So here, Bhayat Karna, these Maharathas will say, he ran away out of fear from us. Humse dar ke bhag gaya. Not only that, he says, all these foot soldiers and everybody who's not a Maharathi but is still there in the war, even his own camp, वो क्या सोचेंगे? येषाम चत्वम बहुमतः भूत. All these बहुमतः, all these people standing, what will they think? Bhutva yasyasi laghavam. According to them, all these people will bring your honor down, no longer look up to you, and they will reduce your stature, laghavam. They will reduce your stature to their level. All that you have earned, Arjuna, was janma janmantara. These natures are not acquired in one lifetime. Janma janmantara. Your nature keeps you propelling in the same direction. You've acquired this glory after a lot of tapasya on your part, because Kshatriya has to go through his own tapasya. Everybody has tapasya to do. He has his own tapasya he has done, because of which he earned this special place in front of Krishna. Who has earned this place? How many have earned this place that Krishna chose to be his charioteer? It's a very special place. If you look at it from the standpoint of an outsider, it's a very special place that he is so close to Krishna. That in this war, Krishna is the one who is guiding him and managing his side without raising an arm. Such a special place he has. You will lose it all. And people will not only talk, give you akirti in the sense all your valor and strength and courage which you are associated with today, people will judge and conclude, because they won't know why that you ran. Somewhere he said, not out of compassion, I think. Maybe it's a tika which says, he says, you ran out of fear, not out of compassion, which he's showing now. Remember the word, from Krishna's standpoint, it was weakness. From his kripaya word that we understood. You remember anybody? So that kripaya from his standpoint, from Sanjay's standpoint, is compassion. People will not say he ran out of compassion. People will say he ran out of fear. They won't understand him. Your real motive, your real intention is not going to be understood by people. Nobody can understand. The higher you are in your intention, definitely it reaches beyond the perception of a layperson's understanding. So they will judge it from their level. They will judge it from their understanding. So unke liye, what is it? It is withdrawing from the war, because he's also shown physical symptoms, collapsed there, given up his bow and arrow. So people will say that he has ran away. डर के मारे लास्ट मिनट पे हमारी 11 अक्षौणी सेना को देख के डर के भाग गया अर्जुन. Haha. Yes, and they will reduce your stature to making it very small. Laghu bhavam, and they'll kind of dismiss you. Your akirti in history will be avyayam, unshakable, and you will be reduced to having become a nobody. And it will be an unshaken history. And then, not just this, he says, avachyavadan, the words that should not be spoken about you, the great warrior. Bahun vadishyanti. Many people are going to talk about you as that should not be spoken about, that you cannot talk about, but they will talk like that about you. Tava ahitaha. Certainly not in your favor. Tava ahit, aapka ahit karega wo. What will they do further? Nindantas-tava. They will do ninda of you. Ninda is, they will look down, they will criticize, they will slight you, they will demean you. Nindantas-tava samarthyam. Your samarthya ki ninda karenge. Now Krishna concludes, Tataha, then, dukkha-taram no kim. He says, what more painful can there be? Greater dukh can there be? Arjuna says, I am dukhi, with an idea that he is fighting this war and he will lose his people. Bhagavan is giving him another drishti. Dukh will be this. ये मत सोचो तुम दुख से मुक्त हो गए if you run away from the war. The dukh that you are not able to see जो तुम्हें मिल रहा है, वो वाला दुख मिलेगा, आज तुम्हें नहीं दिख रहा वो, if you avoid this action. But this is the dukh that you will also get. All for something that was avoidable. This is where I often say, it's a perfect example that you can bring up. We write our own prarabdha. If Arjuna was to run away from the battle, this is his fate. Bhagavan says, ye prarabdha tumhara banega. It's a natural consequence. You don't need too much wisdom. व्यवहार में यही होएगा. Only way to do it is he's going to tell him now, very soon, that what is the way out of it. Therefore, he says, your fall will be so much. Is it worth it? Reconsider, Arjun. Even from the standpoint of Kshatriya, your Kshatriya Dharam says, what better opportunity than fight this? And if I don't fight it, this is what happens to me. I get a kirti, avyaya, everlasting. In history books, I will be written as one who abandoned his dharma. And people immediately now in front of me, are going to look down upon me for the rest of my even existing life. Afterwards, so I am all this. So now 37th verse, Bhagavan is concluding. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim. There are only two outcomes to this war. What is it? Means if you decide to go along with your swadharma and you act, you fight the war, there are only two results that can come out. What? Either hatova, you die. If you die, swargam, you go to veer swargam because you followed your swadharma. The fall of Kshatriya swadharma, righteous war is if you get veer gati on the battlefield, fighting for the righteous side, you will go to swargam for a period of time. You will get a heavenly life for some time. Nothing to lose. Jitva va bhokshase mahim. If you win the war, bhokshase mahim, this large mahim, huge kingdom. At that time, India was more spread also. This huge kingdom, bhokshase, you will have a chance to enjoy. You can enjoy a large, being the king, being on the side of the king, ruling party for this large kingdom. So both ways, you are not losing anything. But if you don't fight the war, what is happening? अगर नहीं लड़े तो क्या होगा?
You will go to Nark, you will lose your kirti,
Correct.
you would not follow your dharma.
Get papam, etc. अगर लड़े तो क्या होगा?
Go to Swarg.
Or if you didn't die and
Then
you
you
won.
get your kingdom, you get happiness, people
So
will praise
you
you.
will, exactly. So if you will win the war, you get the kingdom and more kirti and more of everything more. If you lose, you go to Swarga. Therefore, tasmat, 1 minute, I'll just finish this. Tasmat, therefore, uttishta kaunteya. Get up. Remember, he's also sitting down. Get up physically, get up emotionally, get up mentally, get up psychologically, just get up, man. Get out of this state of mind. Uttishta kaunteya, yuddhaya krita nishchayaha. Krita, करने का, निश्चय करके, किस चीज के लिए? For the sake of war. युद्धाय, इस युद्ध को लेके निश्चय करके get up, निश्चय करो. The whole reasoning is very beautifully seen. If you go backwards and put it in your own words, you will realize entire prakriya psychologically handled to Arjuna. And the first level, it's like a first level of medicine, first aid, to bring him, revive him, to shake his thinking and remove his doubt, because he has a doubt. What is Shreyas for me? So Bhagwan has like opened the whole situation from the standpoint of the laws of life. That is why Gita becomes relevant to us. Seeing from our own standpoints of a conditioned being of Jivatvam, we lose the way of what is right and wrong. So Shastra Vidya lifts our standpoint, and from the standpoint of what is actual the facts of life, we may not discover them ourselves, but they are there for us to follow. Just as we won't discover gravity, but gravity is there for us to follow. Apply these principles in life and keep yourself evolving, growing in life. Tasmat uttishta kaunteya. Stick to your swadharma, even if it looks painful, even if it looks as unpalatable as this situation. If you run away from this and do paradharma, that will be a worse situation than this situation in front of you, which you can't see. So you are only taking an immediate small drishti of your immediate gain, but in the long run it will be very painful to come out of. That spiritual cycle, that cycle that you would have put yourself in, उससे निकलना बहुत कठिन हो जाएगा. Therefore, avoid by all means falling into the mindset of avoiding doing what one should do. हाँ जी, आप क्या कह रहे थे?
No, I just wanted to say, by continuing to do the war, the satisfaction of doing his duty would have been so wonderful for him.
Absolutely.
That was
Absolutely. There would have been the pain of losing his people, but what would have been larger mindset, that pain anyway he will have, and he's already said whoever is born will die. That pain anyway of losing you have to go through because of your attachment. So if not today, tomorrow they will die. If not the war, they will anyway die. So the pain anyway you have to go through because you have attachment. But what you're not seeing is, so what is clouding your rationality and judgment is this immediate attachment. What you're not able to recognize it, that by avoiding your duty, you are slipping into a difficult realm of existence for your own sake, and it will be difficult to come out, to evolve. It's never impossible. Every place earned has, as we said, nature puts us in the best place possible for us to grow spiritually in that environment. It's the best for us. So wherever one gets a chance, again, that's not the point, but you're making a cycle difficult for yourself. So stick to what is our, there's so many takeaways up to this point that Gita tells us, educates us, guides us as praman. It tells us as unfailable laws. From the next verse now, Bhagavan says, Tatra yuddham swadharmaha iti evam Yuddhyamanasya upadesham imam shrunu. Very important this is. Now he's coming into the teaching slowly. What is it? He says, if you take it as your swadharma, and with that mind of a swadharmic duty, it is my duty to do this. It's my swadharm to do this. ये मेरा स्वधर्म है. अगर ऐसी सोच से तुम लड़ते हो, then what will happen? See the options? Do you pick up the options? The reasoning that goes step by step? So, we'll continue in the next week. Tomorrow, no class. But if you pick up those thoughts in the meantime, the reasoning that he's given, now he's come to the point, if you fight with the idea that this is my swadharm to do, then what? Tatra, here, yuddham swadharmam iti, in this manner. Swadharma yuddham. ये तो मेरा धर्म है युद्ध करना. युध्यमानस्य उपदेशम imam shrunu. Now here, what is this upadesh regarding this thinking that this is my fight, this is my swadharam to fight? It is like a God saying it is my swadharam to protect the society, protect whoever I'm guarding. Supposed to be, if a cook says it's my swadharam to cook for whoever I'm cooking, if a doctor says it's my swadharam to treat whoever's come for treatment, if the advocate says it's my swadharam to give justice, if one sticks to one's dharma and acts, I hope one's getting the clue, because this is now setting it's a huge knowledge. It's too huge a knowledge. It can change a person's life and direction forever. That's how important this knowledge is. बदल देती है जीवन जब ये बात समझ में आती है और उतर जाती है फिर जीवन में कि my actions now are centered. I may not see immediately the connections, but karma has a kala bheda in it. It is based in time. So for the results to come also will take some time. But these are the laws. They can't change them. These are sanatana. They won't change themselves. Whether I know them or don't know them, I understand them or not understand them, following them alone can give the results that they talk of. Okay. So tomorrow, no class. Next Saturday, we'll have a class. And just like that. Happy Diwali. So no class. For no other reason, no class. Just like that. Kabhi just like that is also good. So I'll just take a little. Yeah. Can you conclude, Priyanka?
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभः रहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ शान्ति।
All right.
Thank you,
No
Dipti
question.
ji. Wish you all a very happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali, everyone. Thank you,
Very,
Deepti.
very happy Diwali, everyone. Very, very happy Diwali. Deepti ji, thank you very much. Pranam.
Thanks.
We all feel a nice family together now.
Yes, in